This is the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Then Jesus told them a parable about their need to pray always and to never lose heart. He said, in a certain city there was once a judge who neither feared God nor had any particular respect for people. And in that city there was a widow who kept coming to him and saying, "Judge, grant me justice against my opponent." For a while the judge refused, but later he said to himself, "Though I have no fear of God or no respect for anyone, yet because this widow keeps bothering me, I guess I will simply grant her justice, so that she may not wear me out by continually coming." And then the Lord said, "Listen to what the unjust judge says. And will not God grant justice to his chosen ones who cry to him day and night? Will he delay long in helping them? I tell you, he will quickly grant justice to them. And yet, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth?" The Gospel of the Lord. Please be seated. When I first read this lesson, the first thing that came to my mind was the question, what's in your wallet? Now, maybe, and I try to think, why did that happen? I am a creature of media. I watch TV, and we know what the commercial is, probably, if you watch TV. Maybe it was because we're in the midst of our Moving Mission Forward season while we're thinking about what we'll pledge financially to the church and the things that we're going to do over the next year. Maybe that tied into it. I'm not quite sure. Maybe it was just that commercial, and we know the commercial, the credit card. If you purchase this one credit card, you get all these bonus points and all that sort of thing. And I think we know in the world that we live that the way we work with money and the way we work with credit, that all these discounts and bonuses, it's all, we're paying for it one way or the other. But I kind of wondered, I looked at this wallet, it looks kind of empty to me, and what if Jesus asked us the same question? What is in your wallet? You see, Jesus, throughout his ministry, and every lesson that we look at, he continues to unpack this notion of peace. He's asking his disciples, he's asking people to share the peace that surpasses all understanding. There is no lesson that Jesus teaches or any example that he provides that is not some dimension of the shalom, the peace of God. And so I kind of wondered, maybe what would happen is if Jesus asked us the question, what's in your wallet, he would be hoping that certain things would in fact be in there, maybe along with our credit cards and some cash. That maybe, just maybe, Jesus would give each one of his believers, each one of his children, each one of his friends, 4 very specific gold coins that have value beyond our wildest imagination. The first coin might be the coin of mercy. On one side of that coin, we see the word prayer. On the other side, we see mercy. This coin of mercy, this expectation that we are to live lives of love, that we are to give without any expectation of receiving something in return. To be evidence of God working through us just as God gives to us without any great expectations, can we lift ourselves up to this merciful state in the world of shalom, to love for the sake of love, with no expectation in return. The next coin Jesus might place in that purse or wallet might be the coin of forgiveness. On one side of the coin, we see prayer. On the other side of the coin, we see forgiveness. And again, this coin, this amazing coin, this treasure that is beyond all treasures, is something that is given to us as an expectation to live a life of continual forgiveness. 70 times 7 and then beyond. This coin creates hope and opportunity and opens our hearts and minds in ways that allow us to become free expressions of God's grace. And if you'll notice on both of these coins, on one side is prayer. Jesus recognizes that this is not necessarily easy stuff to do, that prayer must precede every act of God. We need to live lives of persistent prayer in order to engage in the shalom. Now, the third coin might be the coin of compassion. On one side of this beautiful coin is the word compassion. On the other side, prayer. Compassion to be able to recognize that there is pain and suffering in this world, pain and suffering that may exist in our very homes, in our neighborhoods, in this church, in the world beyond the bounds of this place called Fenton, that there are people who are suffering. And God is calling us into some sort of movement or action to recognize their pain and suffering, to take that in, to live in solidarity, to share hope, to strengthen people who are in need, and to always pray before we move forward in faith. And the final coin is the coin of justice. On one side we see justice, on the other side we see prayer. And when we look at this coin of justice, Jesus is saying, my goodness gracious, the world in which we live is an unfair place. We had always hoped that people would live together, that the strong would lift up the weak, that the weak would be able to share their unique gifts and talents with the strong, that people would recognize there's something more to life than money and power. Throughout the ages, this call for justice has been a call too often like a call in the wilderness. These are the coins. This is what Jesus is hoping to find when he looks for people of faith. He wondered how much faith there would ultimately be. He knew he was going to die. When he told this story, he was probably a month away from his death. He recognized the challenges that continued on, and it frustrated him because these same challenges, this parable, this story about an unjust judge, was the standard bill of fare in Palestine for the last 750 years. It was nothing new. It just continued to go on, and so many of these parables that Jesus tells is like banging his head against the wall. Is there a way this message of shalom might take hold? And he says, I wonder when the Son of Man comes, will I find faith on earth? Well, there's faith on earth. There are challenges that are great. But when I look at this church, I see a lot of faith. I see challenges. We struggle. But I see an amazing amount of faith. And a door was uniquely opened to this ministry called TLC a few years ago. Just like the widow who persistently prayed for justice, on any given day there are 750,000 people in nursing homes that are praying for someone, just someone to visit with, to hear my story. People who have been abandoned by society, by the church. This cornerstone of God's mercy, justice, compassion, and forgiveness is so fundamental to our life as a society, as a church, and yet, as close as it is, people have been forgotten. So many of us have gotten involved in the development of this ministry of compassion. Over 80 churches now have been presented with the material. And there's a lot of good energy that is following. You know, I don't understand why or how exactly we got into this work. I can point to various people. I can point to the Bertha Andersons, the Ellen Grossers, the Sandy Barras, the Madeline Smiths. I can point to different people, and then we even learned that Arlene Hayes, way before this ever got started, was visiting strangers in nursing homes. But I bring all this up, and this is a doorway to shalom. It's not just about visiting people in nursing homes, but it's a doorway to shalom. And the fact of the matter is, our church has, for some reason, been given a mission infinitely bigger than these walls, infinitely bigger than this community or state or senate. For some reason, we've been given something. And it's not something I would have ever expected or particularly wanted. But yet, we've been given it. God is smiling on us. God is encouraging us to grow beyond our wildest imaginations. God is leading us down a pathway to express shalom in a variety of different ways. And I can tell you, my friends, as I take the message out, this is just an open door to experiencing the fullness of the peace that surpasses all understanding. It's not simply about visiting those who have no one. But to those who have given much, and we have been given much, much is expected. We are being called to go way beyond that which we've ever experienced in church before. There is no church, I trust, that has been given this type of a ministry that we have been given, that you've participated in. But we've been given it. And that's good news. It's exciting news. And the good news about it is that I think if Jesus took a look at who and what we are, for all of our strengths and weaknesses, he would say, pretty good job. Keep going. Don't give up the faith. Be positive. Be hopeful. Don't give in. Encourage one another. Go keep moving forward. I'm with you every step of the way. There's more that we have to do. And as we do it, we will experience even more the fullness of God's grace. Amen.